Good evening, my friends. This is Paul, and as promised in my Kirby Triple Deluxe video, I am now going to present to you the third installment in the unofficial Kirby New trilogy, and that is Kirby Planet Robobot. Why is it an unofficial trilogy, you ask? Because it looks and plays and performs pretty much exactly the same as Return to Dreamland and Triple Deluxe, with only a few minor tweaks here and there to enhance the experience. Now, it also carries the same problems and doesn't do hardly anything to fix them, but we'll get to that later. Right now, like Triple Deluxe, let me get the two mini-games out of the way first. Like Triple Deluxe, there are three main modes to do here. There's the story mode, as to be expected. Then there's Team Kirby Clash Deluxe, and Kirby 3D Rumble. Kirby 3D Rumble is officially the first Kirby game to be in 3D. Although that's not really saying much, because this isn't Ocarina of Time. This is more like Sonic 3D Blast level of 3D. And basically you aim enemies in a straight line. You can't really aim them all three-dimensional like in Zelda fashion. It's a fairly fun concept, and it tests your trajectory mastery, but it only has 3 levels. Yes, there is an eShop expansion, just like with the previous game, but I heard that doesn't have much more content, even though it does support amiibo usage that you can get extra music tracks. Now, Kirby Clash Deluxe is where things get interesting. If you really enjoyed that RPG battle where Kirby could level up and get pointless things like your charm factor went up, not that it matters, well, guess what? Team Kirby Clash really plays along with that idea to the fullest. You control an army of Kirbys, as to be expected. You choose their copy abilities, and then they take on a variety of bosses from throughout the Kirby universes. In the process, they can collect little shards to make a team attack, and the closer you hit the button to the center, the more effective the attack will be. You also get some new abilities you don't find in the story mode, like a shield that can cover your teammates instead of just you, and other abilities with your copy stuff that weren't in the main game, like being able to heal if you're a doctor, for example. The game is fun, but like Kirby 3D Rumble, it's also really short, although it is probably the closest thing you'll get to a Kirby RPG. As seems to be a pattern here, there is an eShop release, but unlike the other 3 eShop minigame re-releases, this one is free at first. And then they charge you various microtransactions to make the adventure easier and also longer. So I would not recommend downloading it unless you just want to do a couple of cool fights without having to purchase Planet Robobot. Now that I've spent 3 minutes talking about the mini-games, let's dive into the story mode. So you already know that Triple Deluxe and Return to Dreamland suffered terribly from having collectibles within the levels that you use to unlock new levels and to open the stage to the boss, that sometimes they would require you to either die or bring in a certain power to get them, or otherwise restart the entire level just to get it. That problem hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is that they're now called code cubes, because everything's all machine-like. There are also stickers to replace keychains, and there's a practical reason for that. Like in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, you can use the stickers to customize your Planet Robobot armor. But honestly, the stickers aren't really all that impressive. I mean, not only do they not have the realistic rocking motion that the keychains in Triple Deluxe did, but some of them are just plain boring. Like, the number 0. I mean, what does that have to do with Kirby, for example? And they're also just as random, so they did not learn from the ridiculous nature of the keychains in Triple Deluxe. Oh, okay. Enough complaining. What about this game is good? Pretty much everything else, honestly. It's not really a bad game if you look past the over amount of collectathon nature. Kirby's abilities work just as well as always. A few have been cut, and a few new ones have been added. Overall, a ho-hum addition. Although if you have Kirby Series amiibo, that can definitely change things. So if you inhale, well, I guess that's their way of saying scan the amiibo into the game, then Kirby will get a copy ability that's tied directly to the character. Now, these copy abilities can be learned elsewhere in the game. For example, Mario gives you the fire ability. You can get fire from inhaling an enemy. But it's a nice way to sort of have it at hand, kind of like how Squeak Squad gave you the ability to select a copy ability from within Kirby's stomach. And you also get some food to restore your health. And in the case of the Kirby series ones, you can even get a custom design for Kirby plus a random sticker. Of the Kirby series amiibo, the only one that I would say is worth purchasing for this game is the Kirby one, because it gives you Kirby's Super Smash Bros. Movesets, which technically you could use them in certain stages in Kirby's Dream Collection, but it's nice to be able to play a full-fledged Kirby game as though you were in Smash Bros. As far as the new gimmick, since the Super abilities and the Hypernova were already taken, now Kirby gets the Robobot armor, where basically he turns into a giant pink machine that can basically punch and kick anything in its way, can also double jump and glide, but the Robobot armor can also scan an enemy, and it can get its own copy abilities, which is what makes the game super cool, because depending on what copy ability you have, that gives an already huge arsenal of abilities to the variety of copy abilities that Kirby has. So you could essentially say he's the most versatile as he's been since Kirby 64's copy ability combo abilities. And the Robobot armor plays itself really well into the game. It doesn't feel tacked on or anything, especially because this game is as much mechanical wonder as Super Mario Sunshine was Tropical Paradise. You'd think that would make the game boring, but surprisingly it doesn't. It still feels just as much of a classic Kirby game. In fact, I would argue it actually feels more like a classic Kirby game because of it. There are tons upon tons upon tons of unnecessary remakes of classic Kirby tunes that are absolutely spectacular because they make the most of the whole factory-like atmosphere. And yes, they remixed the factory tune from Kirby 64, which sounds amazing. In fact, I would say this is probably the best soundtrack I've ever heard in a Kirby game. Heck, even after you unlock the soundtrack, they even throw in the Green Greens theme from Super Smash Bros. Melee, just because they can. How amazing is that? The presentation has also been upped up a considerable notch, because there's tiny little touches that just make the game adorable. Especially in this one level where you're in the streets and there's Waddle Dees driving cars, and they'll actually stop at a stoplight. Even though maybe in Japan the stoplight signs are different, because in the Kirby universe green means stop and red means go. You tell me if there's any Japanese people that understand me. Now, as to be expected of a Kirby game, this game has an absolutely epic finale. I don't know what it is about Kirby final bosses, but no matter how much you hate the main game, it seems like they always have a battle that's star-sweepingly epic. And in case you thought Kirby Triple Deluxe couldn't get any better, well, prepare to be amazed. As you're just going to be absolutely in awe about what Kirby can pull off next. Oh, and you know how I said that in Triple Deluxe, the post-game content was even more fun than the actual game? Well, guess what? It's even more fun in Planet Robobot, for the same reasons as in Triple Deluxe, but now they amplify it even more. And as a result, they give you 3 brand new final bosses at the end that appeal to longtime Kirby fan service. And that's what this game really is. It has a lot of subtle nods to Kirby's past that really say, hey, you know what? We screwed up before and now we're going to present you in true 3D glory. And yes, jumping between the foreground and background still happens. But you just don't get the super inhale from Return to Dreamland or the multiplayer. So, Kirby Planet Robobot is a good game. It's a great follow-up to Triple Deluxe, and overall it just feels a lot more fun and polished, including having the best soundtrack the series has ever seen, as well as really appealing to the Kirby fan base, possibly more than any game that came before it. If I had to recommend any of the three, I'd probably say Return to Dreamland because it's on a console and it also has, couch multiplayer, like the new Super Mario Bros. Games do. But Planet Robobot is definitely the superior option of the two 3DS titles. And because it supports Amiibo, it's much more accessible, just in case you need a copy ability directly at hand right when you need it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's any others you'd like me to do. And until then, keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless.